Revealed, the incredible journey of an Apache who gave up his farms and found life-changing love. Jesse stood at the edge of his fields, the sun painting the Arizona sky in deep oranges and pinks, promising a new day. It was a scene that felt like home, wrapping him in comfort, but now it also pulsed with unease. The relentless voices from the city whispered promises of fortune and escape, teasing at the dreams he had for his children. The hard wind in the desert seemed to carry their silent pleas for something more than the struggle he had endured alone. Each dawn, he moved through the rows of corn and beans he had nurtured, his calloused hands a tapestry of sacrifice that spoke of dedication. But now, doubt crept in a shadow threatening the generational legacy he had built. The town buzzed with tension after the arrival of the corporate developer, a sharp-suited stranger offering the promise of prosperity, urging him to sell his family's land. "Think of your children," he had said with a glint in his eye. As Jesse watched the developer parade through town like a magician with shiny coins, he felt a tightness in his chest. His eldest daughter, Sarah, was particularly drawn to the lure of glittering city lights, her dreams stretching beyond his worn fields. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, Sarah confronted him. "Dad, why are we stuck here? This farm at 1T give us what we need." Her voice carried the weight of generations, yet all she sought was freedom. "You can't choose the farm over my future." It felt like a dagger to his heart, a clash that cut deep into the fabric of their bond. As she stormed off, his breath caught, choked by the fear of losing her to a world that glittered like a distant star. Before he knew it, the decision had been made. With tears in his eyes, Jesse packed their belongings, feeling the earth beneath his feet crumble like sandcastles against the tide. Each step into the unknown left a mark upon his heart, each mile away from home heavier than the last. He arrived in the city amid towering buildings and a symphony of voices, a world bursting with life. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Adapting to city life felt like jumping into a roaring river. The noise and pace were disorienting, yet he found refuge in the community center where he met Sarah, an impassioned organizer fighting for equality. Their friendship blossomed like wildflowers in the cracks of concrete. With her, he began to see the world differently. The concept of success shifted for him. It was no longer just about wealth but about standing up, listening, and fighting for justice. But with every stride he took toward this new life, despair clutched at his heart. He felt the pull of his roots, the land, the family he left behind. The truth loomed large above him. Would he return to his farm, reigniting bonds with those he loved? Or stay in the city, risking it all for this new hope he had found? The question wrapped around him like a storm cloud, heavy and unresolved. Standing at the crossroads of his life, Jesse felt the weight of his choices. With family ties and aspirations intertwined, he had to decide where his heart truly belonged. What lay ahead was a journey of self-discovery that would redefine everything he thought he knew about love, sacrifice, and identity. The city buzzed around him, a living, breathing entity that demanded attention. Jesse felt small beneath its towering skyscrapers, the cracks in the pavement echoing the fissures in his own heart. Sarah was swept up in the whirlwind, passionate and vibrant, shining like a beacon of hope. She was thriving in her new world, but he was not sure he could keep pace. Days blurred together in a haze of noise and activity, and Jesse struggled to find his footing. He watched Sarah speak at community meetings, her voice confident and fervent. Each time she passionately outlined their vision for a more equitable society, a swell of pride rose in his chest, but mingled with it was a nagging doubt. Could he truly become part of this world while leaving behind the one he cherished? He visited the community center often, seeking solace in the warmth of friendship. There, he met others filled with determination and dreams, but deep down, he felt like an outsider. The laughter and chatter often reminded him of family dinners back home, the closeness he traded for this new reality. A pang of homesickness gripped him, memories of the farm danced like flickers of sunlight, pulling him back to the soil that had witnessed his every struggle. His nights were often laced with anxiety, as he tossed and turned in the small apartment they now called home. With each rustle from the city outside, he imagined the quiet nights under a starlit sky back on his farm. Would he ever hear the soft rustle of corn leaves again, or the gentle chirping of crickets that had once lulled him to sleep? One evening, as he stood at their tiny balcony overlooking the cityscape, Sarah joined him. She leaned against the rail, her expression illuminated by the streetlights below. "You okay, Dad?" she asked, the concern in her voice mirroring the love he had once fiercely protected. He hesitated, glancing away. I miss it. I miss the land, the quiet. It's different," she finished, her soft tone inviting vulnerability. "Yeah. It's just hard sometimes. I thought, coming here, I'd feel alive. But sometimes I feel lost," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Sarah stepped closer, her warmth grounding him. "It's okay to miss home. But don't forget why we're here. There's a fight waiting for us. Don't you think it's worth it?" Her words struck him. In all his searching, he had almost lost sight of the greater purpose of shaping a future, not just for them, but for families like theirs who were still dreaming beneath the weight of old struggles. Yet deep within him, the yearning for home pulsed fiercely. The life he had chosen tore at him, a constant juxtaposition of love for his daughter and love for the land, and then he received a message that shook him to his core. A letter from the local authorities back home, threatening to take over the land if he didn't return. The corporate developer's promise of prosperity echoed in his ears, but now it felt different, menacing. Would he be forced to choose between the life he left behind and the fight ahead? As he stood at another crossroads, Jesse felt a sense of urgency ripple through him. Did he have the courage to reclaim his roots while being woven into this new tapestry? The heart-wrenching question loomed: could he bridge the gap between two worlds for the sake of his family? Determination washed over him, yet uncertainty swirled like a tempest. What action would he take next? Would he return home to defend his legacy, or fight in this new arena alongside Sarah? He looked over at Sarah, her hope radiating through the darkness. The moment he had been dreading was here. The choice would define everything: would he forge ahead into the unknown, or would he retreat back to the safety of his past? And what would that choice mean for the bond they were rebuilding? Jesse took a deep breath, the weight of his decision pressing down on him like a heavy blanket. He watched Sarah, her silhouette a stark contrast against the shimmering lights of the city. She had ignited a spark in him he thought he'd lost forever. And yet, the specter of his past loomed large, calling him back to the land that shaped him. The letter crumpled in his pocket was a constant reminder of what he might lose if he stayed away. "Are you really thinking about it?" Sarah's voice pulled him from his thoughts, filled with an intensity that gave him pause. She could always read him like an open book. "Going back home, I mean. To the farm?" I don't know," he stuttered, the answer swirling in his mind like leaves caught in an autumn wind. "They're threatening to take the land, Sarah. I can't just let it slip away without a fight." "But you have a fight here, Dad," she urged, desperation creeping into her tone. "You saw how the community came together against the eviction notice last week. You have a voice here. You just have to find it." He wanted to believe her. But the thought of losing the farm felt like a fire burning deep inside his chest, painful and relentless. "I feel like I'm being pulled in two directions," he confessed. "What if I go back? What if I lose all of this?" He gestured around them, trying to capture the essence of their new life. "What if I break the trust we've built?" Sarah frowned, stepping even closer. "You're not breaking my trust. I want you to find what makes you whole. We can't be a part of this movement without your heart in it. And you feel it when you talk about the land." He was silent, letting her words sink in. The conflict was palpable, an internal battle between the roots that nourished him and the budding aspirations they had planted together in the city. He felt naked, exposed, with just Sarah's understanding for cover. She took his hand, squeezing it tightly. I believe in you. I know you're scared. But think about it this way, what if you can save the farm and help us, those like us, at the same time? Her words were a fragile thread, almost a lifeline. How? He murmured, the smallest flicker of hope igniting in him. We can rally the community. Bring people together, even from the farm to the city. You have stories to tell, Dad. You're not just a farmer, you're a bridge. You can show them what's at stake. He exhaled slowly, the idea taking root despite the heavy doubt still clinging tightly to his heart. Could he truly be both? The protector of his legacy and a champion for change? I want to believe that, he said finally, his voice stronger. But what if I fail everyone? What if you're right and I can't be both? You won't, she said fiercely. I won't let you. We'll do this together. Please, just don't run away again. You've given up so much already. Let us fight for what's right. For the land. For the people. Her fierce passion lit a fire within him. All right. Let us give it a shot. But as excitement began to bubble inside him, shadows of doubt still lurked. He wasn't certain how they would face the powerful developers or the bureaucratic machines threatening to obliterate their histories. Old and new. As dawn broke over the vibrant city, Jesse felt a rush of adrenaline. We can start meeting people, building alliances. Share the story of the farm. The words took flight as they tumbled out of his mouth. Sarah nodded, her eyes shining with possibility. We need a plan. We can make this work. Together. But as they began to discuss logistics and strategy, he couldn't swerve from the feeling that time was running out. They were up against powerful forces. This was only the beginning of a fight that would test every fiber of their beings. He glanced at Sarah, resolve slipping over him like a comforting quilt. Could their fight really make a difference? Could they withstand the pressures looming ahead of them? He clenched his jaw, pushing away the fear swirling in his mind. Then let us get started. But deep inside, Jesse knew that the battle for the farm and their shared future had only just begun. What decision would they need to make next, and would the ties they were trying to build hold strong against the storms on the horizon? The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting a golden glow over the bustling streets as Jesse and Sarah set out on their mission. They walked side by side, a palpable energy between them, the weight of their purpose fueling each step. Jesse felt the whispers of doubt dimming as they ventured into the heart of the community he had once thought he'd left behind. First stop, the community center, Sarah declared, her determination contagious. If we're going to rally people, we need to spread the word. Jesse nodded, taking in the sights around him, the vibrant murals, the laughter of children playing, and the hum of small businesses flourishing against the odds. Each storefront seemed to tell a story of resilience, and he felt a flicker of hope ignite in his chest. But could this community really stand together against the looming threat? As they entered the community center, a cozy space filled with the scent of fresh coffee and pastries, they were greeted by familiar faces. They spotted Lydia, an old friend and local activist, standing at a table adorned with pamphlets. Her face lit up when she saw them. Jesse. Sarah. What brings you here today? Lydia's voice was warm and inviting, wrapping around him like a cherished memory. Jesse took a breath, feeling a swell of pride as he began to explain their plan. We need your help. The farm is under threat again. We want to gather support, rally the community, show them what's at stake. Lydia's brow furrowed, but not with disbelief. They're at it again. I thought we had put an end to their games last time. Not yet, Sarah interjected. But we're not backing down. We have to fight for what's ours. Lydia's eyes sparkled with determination, infectious in her unyielding spirit. Count me in. If we're going to turn the tide, we need numbers. We can start planning an event, a town hall meeting. Get everyone together. Hit them with our stories. Jesse felt the swell of camaraderie strengthen the bond they were forging. Their conversations buzzed with energy, filled with laughter and shared memories. They planned outreach, making lists, kicking ideas around like a football, but beneath that vibrant exterior, Jesse's heart raced with looming uncertainty. What if they were simply dreaming? Would people really show up? The developers were formidable, full of resources and money. He couldn't shake the final question in his mind: would this rally even matter? As the discussions deepened, Sarah noticed Jesse's distraction. She leaned in, her voice low but passionate. "Dad, remember why we're doing this. It's bigger than just the farm." "Right," he said, shaking off the uncertainty. "It's about community. About standing up for each other." An unexpected wave of pride coursed through him when he realized they were indeed standing for something greater. Fueled by their combined energy, plans were drawn. Flyers would be printed, social media campaigns launched, and an invigorating call to action would pulse through the community like a heartbeat. Later that evening, as they parted ways, Jesse felt a spark of hope that hadn't been there earlier. Even if the path ahead was fraught with danger, he was no longer face to face with it alone. But as he got into his car, an unexpected phone call from an unknown number shattered his moment of elation. "Mr. Harrison." A voice spoke coldly on the other end. "We need to discuss your property." His heart sank. The fight was closer than he thought. The true battle was just beginning, teetering on the edge of uncertainty. Jesse took a deep breath, determination spreading through him like wildfire. Would he rise to the challenge when he faced it head-on? Would it truly be a fight worth waging for love, legacy, and community? Jesse's heart raced as he stared at the screen, the caller's words echoing in his mind. He could almost feel the weight of their intentions pressing down on him. What did they want from him now? He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, grappling with the sense of dread that twisted deep in his gut. After a moment, he took a shaky breath and dialed back the number. A brief conversation led to an appointment, an invitation to meet at the developer's office the next morning. He could already picture the sleek, polished desks, the sterile boardroom, the suits watching him like hawks. As he pulled away from the community center, he fought back waves of anxiety. Doubts crept back in. What if they offered him a buyout? What if the farm was nothing more than a people's dream? He was holding on to a dream that would slip from his fingers like sand. The next morning, as he prepared for the meeting, Jesse's mind was a flurry of thoughts. His tie felt too tight, choking him, a symbol of the change that was knocking at his door. He could hear Sarah's encouragement in his head. Focus on the community. Think of the voices that needed to be amplified. Think of the generations who had worked that land, who depended on it. The office was intimidating, filled with glass and chrome. A stark contrast to the warmth of the community center, it felt cold and unwelcoming. He walked through the polished halls, trying to find his footing. Would they dismiss him? Laugh at his passion? A moment of vulnerability washed over him, but he swallowed hard and pushed it back. Once inside the conference room, Jesse faced three well-dressed executives who didn't even bother to hide their smirks. As they introduced themselves, he caught a glimpse of their disinterest. They weren't here to discuss the community, they were here to discuss profits. Jesse knew he had to turn the tide. "Thank you for seeing me," he said, forcing calmness into his voice as he sat down. "I'm here to talk about more than just land. I'm here for my community. For my family." The lead executive raised an eyebrow, feigning interest. "Family can mean different things, Mr. Harrison. Sometimes a good deal is what's best for your future." Beneath that polished surface, Jesse sensed the disdain, as if they saw him as a mere obstacle. The room felt stifling, but he pressed on. He began to share stories, anecdotes of families who depended on the farm, vibrant tales of community events, the resilience of his neighbors. He showed them that this land was not just dirt and grass but home, history, and heart. As he spoke, he felt their disinterest waver. The initial mocking glances turned to curious frowns. He had their attention, but would it be enough? Finally, the lead executive cleared his throat, a serious expression taking over his face. "That's admirable, Jesse, but this is business. I can't promise you anything. Jesse took a deep breath, desperate to fight back. He had to convince them that this fight was beyond numbers and spreadsheets. Part of what makes our community strong is our connection to the land. If you push us out, you won't just destroy farms. You will tear families apart. Silence hung heavy in the air, and Jesse's pulse quickened. This was it. He laid everything on the line. But just then, the door swung open, and Lydia burst in, breathless with urgency. Jesse, we need to talk. It's about the town meeting. Panic surged within him. Here they were, wrestling with important decisions, and outside, his community was gathering. The fight was not just here, it was out there, waiting for him to rejoin. Lydia's eyes darted between Jesse and the executives, and he felt a surge of hope ignite within him. Maybe this was a sign. Maybe, just maybe, he could bring this battle to light, to show them they couldn't just count on numbers. Looks like we both have a lot to discuss, he said, a new edge to his voice. He turned back to the executives, determination resurrecting his spirit. Let us see if you still want to discuss business when you learn what true community means. Would this unexpected interruption be the spark that ignited change, or would it be another nail in the coffin of his dreams? The next fight had begun, but Jesse was ready, heart racing with newfound purpose. What awaited them in that town meeting was a challenge unlike any other, a chance to unite their voices before it was too late. Jesse's heart pounded wildly in his chest as he pivoted towards Lydia, feeling the air around him shift. The tension in the conference room tightened like a spring, and for a heartbeat, time seemed to freeze. The executives exchanged glances, their wall of indifference cracking just slightly. What about the town meeting, Lydia? Jesse urged, desperate to understand the urgency that had brought her barging in. Lydia took a deep breath, brushing a few loose strands of hair behind her ears before speaking. People are getting restless, Jesse. They're ready to fight. If we don't make a stand now, before they announce their plans, everything we've worked for could disappear overnight. This isn't just about you or the farm, it's about our future. The weight of her words hung heavily, and Jesse felt the gravity of the situation deepen. His throat tightened. He didn't just have to save his family's legacy, he had to defend the very heart of their community. The lead executive tilted his head, an eyebrow raised. It sounds like your community is rallying, Mr. Harrison. Good for you. But you realize this is still business. People can be passionate, but that doesn't influence the bottom line. Maybe you should come to the town meeting, Jesse shot back, a spark igniting. The challenge hung in the air, daring them. There, you might see why we don't just see numbers. Our souls are invested in this land. Lydia nodded, catching on to the momentum. Exactly. Come witness what's at stake. See the kids, the families, hear their voices. It's not about spreadsheets, it's about lives. You might even find it enlightening. The executives exchanged looks, as if debating whether to accept the invitation or dismiss it completely. After what felt like an eternity, the lead executive cleared his throat, the practiced smile returning to his face. We appreciate your passion, but remember, you're not our only interest in this project. There are alternatives, Jesse interjected, his voice a quiet roar. If you can't understand that, the community will push back in ways you might not expect. We won't be silenced. Stepping away from the table, he paced the room, energy pulsing in his veins. He remembered the laughter at last year's harvest festival, the children playing in the fields, their laughter mingling with the wind. He saw Sarah's spark in the eyes of their neighbors, and he felt their bravery flowing through him. What will it take for you to realize we are a force? The executives shifted, the air between them thickening with uncertainty. Jesse knew they were beginning to feel the enormity of what they were up against, the tide of community spirit rising just outside the polished walls of their domain. Jesse, Lydia pressed, her voice softening. We need to go. Time is short, and they're counting on you. He turned back to the executives, refusing to back down. If you're serious about discussing this further, meet us at the town hall tonight. We'll talk numbers then. Until then, I'll show you what this means for everyone involved. With that, Jesse didn't wait for a response. He turned on his heel, Lydia at his side, the thrill of rebellion wrapping around them. As they exited the building, he could already hear the murmurs of the community gathering, their hope resounding in the air like a melody. "Do you think they'll really come?" Lydia asked, glancing back nervously at the towering glass structure. Jesse squeezed her shoulder, invigorated. "We'll make sure they do. Strong communities don't fold easily. They fight. And we're not done fighting." They moved towards the town hall, heartbeats in sync as they approached the burgeoning crowd. Jesse's resolve deepened. That when he saw familiar faces, neighbors who had shared joys and sorrow on the land they cherished. Standing before them felt different now, like he was not just a man defending his farm but a rallying point for everyone. He raised his voice over the crowd. "Tonight, we stand together. No more will we let them define us. Let us show them what it means to be a community." The crowd roared, energy surging like wildfire. As he felt their collective spirit lift him, an exhilarating thought struck him: perhaps this was just the beginning. But would their passion be enough to change the minds of the executives, who saw them as nothing more than a business hurdle? Or were they stepping into a battle that would push their unity and resilience to the brink? The night was full of possibilities, and Jesse was determined to seize them all. As Jesse stepped onto the makeshift platform at the town hall, a wave of uncertainty crashed over him. The crowd surged, faces illuminated by the golden light of the setting sun, full of hope yet draped with the weight of fear. They needed him to be a beacon, to lift them in the face of the storm looming on the horizon. "Thank you all for being here tonight." His voice rang out, stronger than he felt inside. Tonight is not just another meeting. It's a moment in history. We're here for our farms, our families, and our future. Cheering erupted, echoing off the old brick walls. It enveloped him, pushing the anxiety down into the marrow of his bones. Their energy fed him, igniting a fire he didn't know he had, but as applause faded, Jesse felt the gravity of what lay ahead. He spotted Mr. Daniels, the town's oldest resident, his face a map of lines that told stories of struggle and resilience. Beside him was Sarah, clutching a photo of their family farm, her eyes bright and fierce. They were all looking to him. "People think we're just a collection of names and numbers," he continued, his voice thick with emotion. "They don't see the lives behind the labels, the generations who have cultivated this land with sweat and tears. But tonight, we show them who we are." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Each nod, each rounded face, echoed a shared history that stretched back decades. This was about more than soil and crops, it was about identity. As he scanned the crowd, a sharp thought pierced Jesse's heart. He lost his family's farm, his ancestral connection to this land, and it felt impossible. Yet the faces around him ignited something profound within. This wasn't about him, it was about them. That's why we're inviting those executives. He paused, heart racing at the thought. We're inviting them to see what we're made of. He felt the collective heartbeat of the community. They weren't just fighting for a few acres of land, they were standing up for a legacy. Their stories were intertwined, nostalgia wrapping them in a spirit that couldn't be easily broken. Lydia stepped up to him. "Let us show them how powerful unity can be," she declared, her eyes sparkling with determination. A cheer rose from the crowd, emboldened by her passion. "Right now, we make a decision," Jesse said, his voice rising above the joyful ruckus, "to embrace this struggle together. Decisions will be made, but we have a voice. Let us not let that be drowned out by their dollars." As he finished, a hush fell over the room. Jesse could feel everyone's expectation. Would this collection of families, of individual struggles and stories make a difference? But what gnawed at him was the question of aftermath. This fight? It was just the beginning. However, he also knew there were hidden costs to every fight. Would his community remain united in the face of setbacks? Would the fear of losing more than just land, of losing each other in this struggle, be too great? As the night wore on, they made plans, they shared stories, rekindled friendships that had faded. Laughter and tears intermingled like the softest of harmonies. The stakes were high, but together they pressed on, determined to prove their worth to the world. With the sun sinking low behind them, Jesse felt the weight of hope rising like the dusk's last light. He dared to imagine a world where their voices were heard. What would the executives see when they came? Would sheer love and resilience be enough to change their hearts? Or was this just a gathering of misplaced expectations, destined to shatter under harsh reality? That question loomed larger than ever, revealing the fragile balance between hope and despair. And as Jesse mulled over these thoughts, something shifted in the crowd. Eyes widened, and whispers ricocheted. What was happening? Did they sense something approaching? Jesse's heart raced as he tried to decipher the electricity crackling in the air. Faces shifted from eager anticipation to unspoken worry. He turned towards the back of the crowd, where shadows shifted under the dimming light. Suddenly, a ripple of movement surged forward. An unknown figure emerged, stepping away from the edges of the gathering. Tall and confident, laughing lines etched deep into their weathered face, the newcomer wore a faded plaid shirt and a wide-brimmed cowboy hat. It was Old Man Carter, a cowboy known for his silence but revered for his wisdom. "Everyone, gather round." His deep voice boomed over the murmurs, breaking the tension like glass shattering on the ground. The crowd fell quiet, curiosity peaking, and Jesse felt a magnetic pull towards the man. "Listen up," Carter continued, his voice steady and unwavering. "I may not say much, but I've seen more than most in my years, and it's high time we had some straight talk." As he made his way closer, Jesse felt a warmth emanating from the crowd, a shared sense of belonging that transcended fear. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Carter, who had an uncanny ability to command their attention. "I've seen this town through thick and thin. I've watched folks fight for their lives. But tonight? This isn't just about land. This is about every heart in this room and what we stand for." The crowd leaned in, tension weaving into a fabric of shared resolve. Carter's words stirred a collective strength, igniting that fire Jesse had felt before, but now with an urgent intensity. "We have grown crops from dust, raised families from heartbreak, and we've done it together." Carter's voice cracked, emotions spilling out like rain over parched earth. "And if those city folks think they can come in and take it from us, they've got another thing coming." A cheer erupted, loud and resonant. Jesse joined in, feeling the power of it wrap around him like a warm hug. That community spirit he admired surged forth in waves, merging voices, becoming a collective heartbeat, but as the last echo of the cheer faded, uncertainty loomed like dark clouds on the horizon. What did this mean for Jesse? The burden of leadership pressed heavier against his chest. Was he truly ready to face the corporate giants? As Jesse stood there, still processing, Sarah's soft voice cut through the noise. "What if we're not enough? What if they don't listen?" Jesse's heart sank, the whisper of doubt echoing all too loudly. The faces of his friends and neighbors flickered in his mind. Could they really hold their ground? The fear gnawed at him, making him question their unity, their determination. Old Man Carter, sensing the shift, stepped closer to Jesse, placing a weathered hand on his shoulder. "Son, remember this strength doesn't just come from tenacity, it comes from each other. You're not alone in this fight. They LLC our hearts, our bonds. Don't let the fear take root." His words resonated, filling the cracks of doubt with hope. But what lay ahead would not be easy. The moment felt pivotal. Just then, a commotion broke out at the back of the crowd. An urgent voice shouted, "They're here. The executives are coming." A wave of gasps washed over the audience like a tidal wave, stirring a whirlwind of emotion. Just as Jesse felt knees tremble with panic, Lydia's voice rose above the chaos. "Let us show them what we're made of. The air turned electric with anticipation, and Jesse looked at Lydia, his heart pounding. Could they face what was coming? Would they stand united? As he turned back to the thrumming heart of the crowd, the stakes felt higher than ever. What awaited them at this moment of truth? Would the love they shared be enough to protect their legacy, or would it all disintegrate before their very eyes? As the distant rumble of engines approached, Jesse felt a knot tighten in his stomach. The emotions swirling among the crowd were palpable: anticipation, fear, and a flicker of defiance. Old Man Carter's words still echoed in his ears, urging him to stay strong. Lydia moved closer, her eyes bright with determination. "We're not backing down, Jesse. Not now. We have to make them hear us." She was the spark, her energy infectious in the face of uncertainty. The crowd began to cluster tighter, forming a wall of solidarity. Jesse could feel his heart sinking with theirs, their rhythms thumping as one. Around him, he heard whispers, prayers, and pledges of loyalty. This was not just about land, it was about identity, but just as quickly as the energy surged, doubt crept back in. What would the executives really bring? Their fancy suits, polished shoes, and business jargon felt foreign against the backdrop of dirt roads and dusty boots. Would they see the strength of their unity, or would they dismiss it outright? The engines finally rolled into view, sleek black vehicles that echoed authority, and Jesse felt a wave of anger wash over him. How dare they? The sight of the corporate giants stepping out, confidence radiating from their sharp suits, made Jesse's blood boil. It was a stark contrast to him and his neighbors, weary yet steadfast, standing together in their work-worn clothes, with hope in their eyes. "Everyone, stay calm," Carter's voice carried above the ambient chatter. "Spine straight, heads up. Let them know we're not afraid." His presence was a lighthouse guiding Jesse through the storm of emotions, reminding him they were all in this together. A tall man stepped forward from the group of executives, adjusting his tie with an air of importance. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for gathering on such short notice. We're here to discuss the future, your land included." His voice dripped with condescension, igniting fire within Jesse. "Here's the future," Lydia shouted, her fierce voice cutting through the noise. "You think you can just come in and erase what we've built? This isn't just land, it's our home." The crowd erupted in cheers, a wave of righteous anger that lifted Jesse's spirits. Then he felt at the moment when everything changed, the shift from fear to resolve. He stepped forward, heart hammering, feeling the collective energy behind him. "We farmed this land with our bare hands, raised families, shared laughter and tears. You want to take that from us? It's not just about real estate, it's about lives, our lives." Each word felt like it cut through the air like a knife, sharp and true. The executives shifted uncomfortably, glancing at each other, and Jesse saw the cracks forming in their facade. They underestimated the power of community, of love woven into every inch of their land. Just then, Carter raised his hand. "Let me tell them what we stand for." He moved closer, aged face set with determination. "You see us as simple folks. But our roots dig deep. We fight not just for land, but for everything we cherish. You'd be wise to reconsider. Our love is stronger than any corporate interest." Silence enveloped the crowd. Jesse felt tension shift, the executives caught off guard, eyes widening as they grasped the significance of their words. This was no mere negotiation, this was a declaration of their shared spirit, but uncertainty flickered in Jesse's mind again. Were their hearts truly enough to shield them from the looming threats? As he looked at Lydia, her face illuminated by the fading light, he realized they were all waiting for him. "You're not alone, are we ready for this?" he asked quietly, breathing deeply, and as the shadows lengthened around them, Jesse took a step forward, feeling the weight of history and hope resting on his shoulders. Would they stand tall against the tide of greed? The answer felt just out of reach, hanging in the air thick with possibility. Jesse stood firm, his heart pounding as he faced the suited executives. Old Man Carter's words echoed in his mind, igniting a fire within. "Is that right?" he called, signaling his determination. You think you can waltz in here and take what is ours without a fight? You don't know us. The crowd behind him erupted into a chorus of shouts and affirmations. Jesse's heart soared. This was unity. This was what it felt like to be part of something bigger than himself. Families had gathered, their faces a mix of anger and hope, but all united in purpose. The lead executive, an imposing figure named Mr. Gibbons, straightened his tie, eyeing the crowd dismissively. You all seem to forget business is business. You can't possibly think that sentiment will shield you from the realities we face. A strike at the heart of their resolve, but Jesse felt invincible as he stepped closer. You're right, it's not just about sentiment. It's about family. It's about our children inheriting the dreams we built, not the emptiness you're trying to sell us. More shouts filled the air, fueled by Jesse's conviction. Sarah stood next to him, her hands clenched into fists, energy vibrating through her. We want to let you tear apart our homes. We're fighting for our legacy. Mr. Gibbons opened his mouth to retort, but Jesse pushed on, his voice unwavering. You may see land as an asset, but we see lives intertwined with this soil. Our laughter, tears, and triumphs live here. And guess what? The people you're disregarding are just as valuable as your bottom line. The atmosphere shifted again, a ripple of realization coursing through the crowd. The executives glanced uneasily at each other. For the first time, they were on the back foot. Jesse felt a rush of adrenaline. We're not just fighting for a plot of land, we're fighting for our children's future, for sustainability, community, for every meal shared under the stars. You can't put a price on that. As shouts of agreement roared behind him, Jesse noticed Lydia taking her place beside him, her expression resolute. Tonight, we stand together. We invite you to see the real cost of your greed. Come talk to us, meet our families, and see the love and hope that fills this community. The executive shuffled uncomfortably. The energy in the air became tangibly electric. Mr. Gibbons' confident facade began to crack. Perhaps we can discuss terms we won't accept terms that exploit our families. Jesse shouted back, interrupting before they could regain control. This isn't a negotiation, we're defending our home. Join us, or be prepared to lose the respect of this community forever. A hush lay over the crowd, hope flaring from hearts entwined like vines. Jesse felt the collective heartbeat, a symphony of courage rising under the fading sun. Just as uncertainty began to creep back in, an old voice broke through the silence. They don't know us at all, do they? Carter interjected with a wise smile. We're farmers. We've weathered storms, stood tall through droughts. The land is our lifeblood, and we will not be intimidated. Hope soared anew. Jesse's pulse quickened as he looked across the gathering, into the eyes of friends and family, some holding hands, others with arms around shoulders. They were a tapestry of lives woven together, resilient against the harsh winds of change. Acknowledging the community behind him, Jesse raised his voice again. We've fought too hard to let someone take our heritage. If it means we must band together, fight tooth and nail, then so be it. The crowd erupted, the air thick with empowered voices rising higher and higher. A chant broke out: no more. No more. Gathering strength and solidarity with each repetition. Caught off guard, the executives exchanged nervous glances as the reality of the scene settled over them like a weight. And amidst the empowering chorus, Jesse stood, heart swelling with pride. He understood now that he was not alone on this journey. Every face in the crowd, every family represented, shared the weight of this moment. Finally, Mr. Gibbons attempted to regain control. We will hold discussions with the community, but Jesse cut him off. That's not good enough. We need to see you here. Try to understand what we stand for. We want you to hear our stories, not just the numbers and spreadsheets, but real lives, real struggles. An influential voice, a powerful witness to their truth. The time for negotiations had ended, the time to stand together had begun. As dusk fell upon the gathering, the crowd erupted into a thunderous applause, feeling invigorated by hope and anticipation. Jessie locked eyes with Sarah. Together, they shared a radiant smile, tears of joy flowing down her cheeks. She knew against all odds they were on the brink of something transformative. Finally, Jessie closed his eyes, allowing the warmth and resolve to seep into him. He could feel not only the strength of his daughter beside him but the mighty spirit of the community that had risen to this moment. The executives were cornered now, grappling with the force of unity sprinkled with unwavering love. Everything they had fought for was at stake, but Jessie had a new understanding. Strength does come from within, intertwined with the roots of love for one another. He raised his arms once more, voice booming. Are we ready to fight? For our farms, for our futures. The roar that answered him echoed in the very fabric of his heart. As the reality of their fight settled, a new dawn emerged, glimmering with possibility, promising that no matter the outcome, together, they would face adversity united in hope and strength. Let us crown this victory together. Let us rise as one. Together, we will not surrender. At that moment, Jessie realized this was more than just a battle for land, it was a testament to the fight for love, legacy, and community itself. And with his heart full of courage, they moved forward into the new dawn, shoulders squared, ready to take on whatever the world threw their way. Now, it's your turn to join this movement. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that can inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these powerful narratives. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. Your voice matters. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans understand the vital importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us spread this message of hope and resilience.